The 1977 D Washington quarter dollar, minted in Denver and bearing the D mint mark, is part of the long-running Washington quarter series that began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and like all circulation strikes of the period, it is composed of a copper-nickel-clad alloy. A pure copper core sandwiched between layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, resulting in a total weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and a reeded edge designed to discourage shaving or clipping metal from the coin in earlier times, when coins contained intrinsic precious metal value. The obverse of the 1977 D quarter features the iconic portrait of George Washington sculpted by John Flanagan, a design chosen in 1932 from a competition using a bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon as its model. Over Washington's head appears the word liberty, a foundational national ideal and a tradition on United States coinage since the nation's earliest years. While to the left of Washington's profile is the motto, "In God We Trust," which first appeared on U.S. coins during the Civil War era and became standard on all denominations following legislative action in the mid-20th century. Beneath Washington's portrait, just above the base of the neck truncation, appears the D mint mark, indicating production at the Denver Mint, one of the U.S. Mint's major coining facilities known for high-volume, high-quality circulation strikes. The reverse depicts an eagle with outstretched wings clutching a bundle of arrows, symbolizing national readiness and strength, and beneath the eagle is an olive branch representing peace. Above the eagle arcs the inscription, United States of America, and directly below it appears the national motto, E pluribus unum, a Latin phrase meaning, out of many, one, expressing the unity formed from the original colonies and later the states that make up the nation, while the denomination quarter dollar sits prominently at the bottom of the coin. In 1977, the Denver Mint produced a large quantity of these coins, with a mintage exceeding 256 million, meaning that the 1977 D quarter is generally common in circulation and frequently encountered in pocket change, though high-grade examples with sharp details and minimal contact marks can be desirable to collectors. In particular, coins graded MS 65 and higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can carry a premium, while the vast majority of circulated examples retain only face value because copper-nickel-clad coins from this period were made in great numbers and meant for heavy daily use. The coin can exhibit variations in strike quality, luster, and overall preservation depending on the specific die pairing and the conditions under which it was handled, stored, or circulated, and although there are no major widely recognized varieties for the 1977 D quarter, unlike some earlier Washington quarters with double dies or significant min errors, collectors still examine examples for minor die cracks, die chips, off-center strikes, broad strikes, or clipped planchets. As such, mint errors can increase value beyond face amount. In the broader context of U.S. numismatics, the 1977 D quarter belongs to the pre-statehood era of Washington quarters, produced before the major 1999 to 2008 state quarters program that dramatically increased public interest in the denomination. Thus, the coin represents the stable, utilitarian design that circulated for decades with little change, bridging the gap between the early silver issues prior to 1965 and the later commemorative programs that revitalized the series. Its inscriptions, Liberty, In God We Trust, United States of America, and E pluribus unum, reflect long-standing themes of American identity, sovereignty, unity, and national tradition, making even a common, everyday 1977 D quarter a small metallic artifact of American history. Next top. The 1978 United States Washington quarter dollar is a copper-nickel-clad circulation coin that continues the long-running Washington quarter series introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and by 1978 the design had already become a familiar, everyday emblem of U.S. currency. The coin weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and features a copper core bonded to outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a composition that replaced the earlier 90% silver alloy beginning in 1965 as part of a nationwide transition prompted by rising silver prices and coin shortages. The obverse showcases the enduring portrait of George Washington created by sculptor John Flanagan, based on the 1786 bust by the celebrated French artist Jean-Antoine Houdon, whose sculptural likeness has long been considered the most accurate representation of Washington during his lifetime. Above Washington's head prominently appears the word liberty, reflecting the founding principle engraved on U.S. coinage since the nation's earliest issues, while to Washington's left is the motto, "In God We Trust," adopted widely on American money beginning in the 19th century and mandated on nearly all coins by the mid-20th century, symbolizing a long-standing spiritual and cultural sentiment in the United States. Beneath Washington's portrait lies the date, 1978, marking the final year before the mint began preparing for eventual later redesigns and special programs like the 50-state quarters introduced in 1999. The 1978 issue is part of the stable, no-nonsense era of Washington quarters that circulated heavily throughout the late 20th century. The reverse of the coin features the classic heraldic eagle design, also by Flanagan, with wings spread in a posture of vigilance, clutching a bundle of arrows that symbolize national readiness and defense, while an olive branch below represents peace and diplomatic ideals. This imagery balances strength with harmony in a way typical of mid-century American symbolism. Arching above the eagle is the inscription, United States of America, and positioned just beneath it in smaller lettering is E pluribus unum, a Latin phrase meaning, out of many, one, representing the union of states and the blending of diverse people into a single nation, a motto used on American coins since the 18th century. At the bottom of the reverse appears the denomination quarter dollar, leaving no ambiguity about the coin's value. In 1978, both the Philadelphia and Denver Mint struck Washington quarters, though Philadelphia coins bear no mint mark while Denver coins display a D on the obverse to the right of Washington's ponytail. Combined, the mintage totals exceeded 500 million pieces, making 1978 quarters extremely common in circulation and easy to find today, though examples preserved in high mint state grades, MS 65, MS 66, or higher, with strong luster and clean surfaces can be desirable to collectors who seek pristine representatives of late 1970s U.S. coinage. While the 1978 quarter has no major recognized varieties, enthusiasts sometimes search for minor die errors such as off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, or examples with strong strikes and full detail in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, characteristics that can add numismatic interest or slight premium value. Historically, the 1978 quarter sits in a period of economic shift in the United States, post-silver coinage, pre-statehood commemoratives, and during years of heavy everyday circulation, which means most examples exhibit evidence of wear, scratches, or loss of luster from decades of use. Yet each coin still carries the symbolic language and iconography that link it to a deeper American story. Liberty as the central ideal of the Republic, in God We Trust as a reflection of national tradition. United States of America as an affirmation of federal identity, and E pluribus unum as the enduring expression of unity and collective purpose that has defined U.S. coinage and American values for more than 2 centuries. Next top. The United States 1986 P. Washington quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington quarter series that began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and although its appearance may seem ordinary at first glance, every detail of the coin reflects a combination of American heritage, mid-1980s mint technology, and the evolving numismatic culture of the late 20th century. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the 1986 P issue carries a small P mint mark on the obverse, positioned just to the right of Washington's ponytail ribbon, and Philadelphia in this era was known for producing very high mintages, which is why the 1986 P quarter is common in circulation even today. The obverse design features John Flanagan's iconic profile portrait of George Washington, first introduced in 1932 and used for decades without major modification. Across the top arch appears the word liberty, a core value of the United States and a standard element of modern American coinage, and just below Washington's chin appears the motto, "In God We Trust." The national motto formally adopted in 1956 and printed on all U.S. coins of general circulation. Beneath the portrait sits the date, 1986, marking both the year of issue and its historical placement during Ronald Reagan's presidency, a period when American coinage relied heavily on the copper-nickel-clad composition established in 1965 after the removal of silver from circulating quarters. The reverse of the coin also follows the classic Flanagan design, a heraldic bald eagle with wings spread proudly across the upper portion of the coin, clutching a bundle of arrows, a symbol of military readiness, while framed below by an olive branch representing peace. Above the eagle, in a gentle arc, is the phrase United States of America, and directly beneath that appears the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. A reminder that the nation is a union of states and peoples. Along the bottom rim is the denomination quarter dollar. Like all circulating quarters of the period, the 1986 P. Washington quarter is made from copper-nickel clad, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin its silver-colored appearance while retaining durability and affordability for mass circulation. The coin weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and features a reeded edge, a security measure originally intended to deter the shaving of precious metals, but retained on clad coins for tradition and tactile familiarity. Mintage for the 1986 P quarter was extremely high, hundreds of millions, making ordinary, circulated examples worth only face value, though sharply struck uncirculated or mint-state coins can be of interest to collectors, especially those preserved with brilliant luster, minimal contact marks, and strong details. While the 1986 P issue does not have many major varieties, specialists sometimes look for subtle die differences, strike quality, or minor anomalies, and as with any mass-produced coin, errors can occur. These include off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, filled die strikes, and other minting irregularities, which can increase value depending on severity and eye appeal. A 1986 P quarter in pristine mint state grades, particularly MS 66 or higher, can be worth more than face value to numismatists because high-grade survivors are scarcer than ordinary used coins. Despite these potential varieties, the typical 1986 P quarter remains a workhorse of American currency, still encountered in everyday circulation nearly 40 years after it was struck, and its phrases, Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and E pluribus unum, along with its classic eagle and Washington portrait, come together to form a small but enduring piece of U.S. monetary history. For new collectors, the 1986 P quarter serves as an accessible introduction to the world of numismatics, demonstrating how even the most common modern coin carries layers of historical meaning, design tradition, and minting science, and for advanced collectors, it offers opportunities to study strike characteristics of the era, compare mint variations, and appreciate how the Philadelphia Mint's production in 1986 fits into the broader story of the Washington Quarter series. Next top. The United States 1987 P. Washington Quarter Dollar belongs to the long-established Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday and continued for decades as one of the most familiar circulating coins in American life, and the 1987 P issue reflects the Philadelphia Mint's high-volume production style of the late 1980s along with the enduring artistic legacy of John Flanagan classic design. On the obverse, the coin displays Flanagan portrait of George Washington, showing him in a left-facing profile inspired by Jean-Antoine Houdon's 18th-century sculpture. Above his head arches the word Liberty, one of the founding principles of the United States and a requirement on modern American coinage, while the motto, In God We Trust, appears just left of his throat and chin area, continuing a national tradition officially adopted in 1956 but commonly seen on coins even earlier. Beneath the portrait sits the date, 1987, marking its place in a decade when U.S. coinage was dominated by copper-nickel-clad compositions, and just to the right of Washington's ponytail ribbon appears the small P mint mark, identifying the Philadelphia Mint, which at this time was producing massive numbers of circulating coins each year. The reverse of the 1987 P quarter preserves the long-used heraldic eagle design. A detailed eagle with outstretched wings stands at the center, clutching a bundle of arrows symbolizing readiness and national defense, while beneath the arrows lies an olive branch representing peace. Surrounding these elements are inscriptions crucial to U.S. identity and monetary structure. United States of America. Curves across the top, the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, out of many one, appears just above. The eagle, and the denomination quarter dollar, is set along the lower rim. Like all standard circulating quarters of the era, the 1987 P quarter is made from copper-nickel clad, a sandwich metal construction introduced in 1965 after the end of 90% silver circulation coinage. The outer layers consist of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin its durable silvery finish while keeping production economical. Its physical specifications match other modern quarters: a weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and a reeded edge, which preserves a tradition dating back to the days of silver coins when reeding helped prevent people from shaving or clipping precious metal from the rims. Although the 1987 P quarter had a high mintage, tens or hundreds of millions, the exact numbers still place it among the common modern issues, meaning most circulated examples retain only face value. However, sharply preserved uncirculated pieces with strong luster and minimal surface marks can command collector interest, particularly in high mint state grades such as MS 65, MS 66, and especially MS 67, where the population is far more limited. Collectors also pay attention to strike quality from the Philadelphia Mint in the late 1980s, as some strikes show slightly weaker details on Washington's hair or the eagle's feathers due to heavy dye use. Finding a crisp, sharply struck 1987 P quarter can therefore be more appealing than an ordinary example. While the 1987 P does not have famous major varieties like double die legends or dramatic design changes, it does exhibit the range of minor anomalies and errors that interest specialists, such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, cuts, filled die areas where letters appear mushy or incomplete, and misaligned dies, all of which can raise value depending on visibility and rarity. Even though it is common, the 1987 P quarter carries significance for collectors because it represents the stability of U.S. coinage leading up to the major redesigns of the 1990s and the 1999 launch of the state quarters program, making it one of the later issues from the long, uninterrupted run of the traditional eagle reverse design. Today, the 1987 P quarter remains widely encountered in circulation, often showing wear from decades of use, but still serving as a tangible reminder of American monetary history, national mottos, liberty, Indiana God we trust, E pluribus unum, and the mint's craftsmanship in producing billions of everyday coins that carry the country's identity in the palm of every citizen's hand.